righty, I'm waiting for y'all to get here. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm waiting on you characters to show up. Sure. In the building. What up? What's happening? What's popping? What's going on with you? What's going on with you? Juggling a lot of things. Juggling a lot of things. Juggling a lot of things. Okay. Hey, Mr. Smith. Yes, sure. Did you see my response? Did you see my response to where to say in his name or could trash DC Aquaman, which we'll probably never get to see. He lame. Whoa! Looky here. Well, if it ain't the lovely and talented Grand Madam, greetings and salutations. How you doing? Thank you for being in the building. I get a couple more y'all, and I will get started here in a little bit. I just let y'all know I got a bone to pick with 3 people tonight. Anthony Mackie, Quentin Tarantino, and as always, Nate Moore. He always finds a way. Doesn't he always find a way? Okay. Not yet, but anything on him or articles talking about whether or not his bulge was whose bulge was deleted in the movie. First, don't come telling me nothing about nobody's bulge. I don't want to hear that. I don't care if it's showing or if it ain't showing. If it's showing, I ain't looking at it. If it ain't showing, good, because I don't care. I don't care about his bulge. Ew. What callous statement has Nate Moore said now? Yeah, he said a lot. But currently, he basically said Marvel does not believe in hiring people in the comic book industry as writers for their comic book based movies. Diabolical nerd in the building. Was good. What's happening, Captain? We in the building. No, I think the fruits of Ryan's labors, or the lack thereof, speak more volumes than anything I could ever say. We done said enough. We haven't said enough. We said it was a BS project. We said don't do it. We said recast T'Challa, and they didn't. So, ding! There you go. 600 million worldwide. You need to make 800 million to break even. Doesn't look like that may happen. So, yeah, Ryan's getting his comeuppance. He continues to talk and say stupid stuff too, but his stuff wasn't as stupid as what Nate said. Sam Raimi is a comic book fan. He's doing the new Spider-Man. Yes, Grand Madam, Sam Raimi is a comic book fan, but Sam Raimi is not in the comic book industry. He's specifically talking about comic book writers, comic book artists, comic book editors, people who work primarily in the comic book industry, which is utterly freaking ludicrous because you're making movies based on damn comic books. Why would you not want to talk to a Dan Slott or a Jonathan Hickman or somebody like that? Al Ewing, somebody who can give you good insight, somebody who tells great comic book stories. How hard is it to transfer a written comic book story into a script? I'll tell you, it's not. Yeah, and again, Ryan is getting what he deserves for his lack of vision. So, yeah, and I'm still not going to say I told you so. I'm just like, to me, everything that is transpiring from this point moving forward is transpiring in the only way it could transpire. You didn't listen to what people were trying to say. I am just mentioning Dan Slott as someone in the industry, sure. Dan Slott is in the industry. Whether people like him or not, he is in the comic book industry. And if Nate Moore or Ryan Coogler woke up tomorrow and said, hey, let's get somebody in the industry. Yeah, let's get Dan Slott. Guess what? Okay, I ain't saying Dan Slott's good. Dan Slott did a horrible job on Silver Surfer. I did not like his run on Silver Surfer. So, yeah, I can kind of agree. Nah, I don't like Dan Slott that much either. But somebody gave him a job at Marvel. So, he's in the industry. What you gonna do? Dan Sloth. I ain't gonna call the man out of his name. Just suffice to say, yeah, don't really care for the man's work either. But I did mention Jonathan Hickman. Why didn't you say something about Jonathan Hickman? What's your favorite Jonathan Hickman work? Bet you can start naming off tons of stuff, can't you? The glass is half full, not half empty. Four of y'all, all four of y'all. Don't you hate it when you get a hangnail? That is some of the most annoying stuff in the world, man. Everything you touch. I hate that. I don't like that. So I'm trying to, get it where it ain't no little divot in the middle of it. You know what I mean? Whoo. How's everybody Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving? Don't seem like that was a week ago. That was a week ago. Wow. Fox X-Men. Perfect example of what happens when you don't use the source material. You get straight up garbage. Well, diabolical, what I'm seeing is for comic-based movies. Come on, your kid, what's good? For comic-based movies, they cherry pick. Okay. I can name a handful of movies that were plucked out of a comic book and just wham, thrown on the screen. You can say what you want to say. about Zack Snyder's Watchmen. But that joint was literally plucked out of the comic book, wham, and thrown on the screen. And people didn't like it. I liked Watchmen. You can say what you want to say. I got my opinion. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. It stuck closer to the comic book than far as storyline. It stuck to the comic book closer than any comic book based movie I've seen, other than 300. And technically that's a graphic novel, so call that what you want to call it. But yeah, for comic book movies, cherry picking. Let me take the best, juiciest tidbits from this story and that story and this story and cram it all together, and hopefully it'll stick to the wall. In a nutshell, that's superhero movies. Let's think about this. Like, see, thank you, Kamoyo Kid. Somebody rocking with me. By Diabolical Nerd, somebody rocking with me. You are you are a glass half empty kind of guy, man. Tell me some shit you like. You don't like nothing, sure. I'm like, damn. I hate Jonathan Hickman too. You hate Al Ewing too? I don't know. Okay, yeah. So as far as comic-based movies, look at Avengers. Okay. The story of the Avengers. The Avengers goes like this. Loki, pissed off at Thor, wants to give Thor a hard time. So I need to find somebody who can mess with Thor and give him a hard time. Who is that? Oh, look at this big green guy. Let's get this big green guy and let him give Thor a hard time, so I make him look like a criminal. That was the premise of the first Avengers story. Not all of this Chitauri shit and all of that stuff they put on the screen. You telling me that Avengers story as it was in Avengers #1 would not have made for a great movie. Everything in a comic book based movie does not have to center around cosmic, galactic, world ending consequences. Every comic book I read, the fate of the world was not on the line. You know what I'm saying? So I guess the people in marketing at Disney and Marvel believe the only kind of superhero movie you can make for the big screen is high stakes superhero movies, where if the hero don't save the day, the day ain't never going to get saved. Okay. The last Batman movie done by Nolan. You talking about the Dark Knight Rises, Kamoyo Kid? Or, well, he didn't do this last Batman, did he? Okay. So I assume you're talking about the Dark Knight. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Pieces and bits. I'm gonna take what I like. I'm gonna leave the rest out. I'm gonna make this broad Talia Al Ghul. What? You know what I'm saying? And it took y'all 3 hours to come to that. Yeah, I would. And people be saying to me, "Why do you not like the Dark Knight Rises?" Do you know the story of Bane? Do you know the story of Talia Al Ghul? Do you know the story of Robin? You know what I'm saying? None of that shit was in there. You know what I'm saying? We just, let me throw all this together and see how it vibes. You know? So, yeah, I don't understand why everything has to be galaxy universe ending. It does not have to be. You know what I'm saying? So, why go there? You know, there. It's just like a lot of what I hear in the comments all the time. You know, Ryan Coogler's are leaving so many stories about T'Challa on the table. They're leaving so many comic book stories that they could be telling that they're not telling. Yes, they are leaving lots on the table. Okay, and I will get to what we can do about that in the live later on. But I think y'all kind of know where I'm going to go with it. The Nolan trilogy isn't really comic page story wise. I can't find comics related. Well, that's what I mean. Bane. Bane is a comic book character. Bane broke Batman's back in the comic books. That's it. No context, no conversation about first he strategized and had Batman running all over the city because all these crooks escaped out of Arkham and he was spending all night long recapturing them and putting them all back where they belong. And then when he got back to where he needed to get to, I'm tired. Now Bane's like, I'm going to jump your ass. That would have been a much cooler cinematic story. And then all of that, I done took over the city and yeah, everybody yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, let's not forget to hit that like button to help with the algorithm. Yes, thank you, Diabolical Nerd. If I didn't say so, I'm sure a lot of these people that's in the chat tonight have already comment, liked, and subscribed, and well, I guess a few more could like. So all good. Nolan put too much emphasis in realism in his trilogy. I agree, D. Steezel, and yeah, that didn't work at all. I mean, I liked The Dark Knight. It was the better movie of the three, in my opinion. But again, didn't follow. It didn't follow anything other than having a character called the Joker in it. Other than having a character called Batman in it. You know what I'm saying? I think that was about as comic bookish as Nolan chose to go with The Dark Knight. But let's talk The Dark Knight. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. I believe The Dark Knight was the better of the three. This is the one I enjoyed the most. It was the one that made the most. Well, was it the one that made the most money? I think it was the one that made the most money of the three. A bunch of people just. Excuse me. Yes, Ashura, the Joker one. You probably hated that, huh? Okie dokie. My friends at IMDb will tell me. I know the Dark Knight made over $1 billion, right? It did. The Dark. Yeah. Dark Knight clocked. And I'm just saying in comparison to worldwide gross was 1 billion. Billion six, 234,167. 500 million of that was US. Now, in the case of I bet more people went and seen The Dark Knight Rises. I bet you. 2 hours and 44 minutes of, I'm not going to say it. 1,000,000,081. Well, look like y'all was just as happy with The Dark Knight Rises as you were with The Dark Knight. But yeah, I agree. The Dark Knight Rises was indeed a snooze fest. But anyway, let's shift gears. Let's shift gears. Since there's enough of y'all in here now, I want to talk about Anthony Mackie and Quentin Tarantino. I say, I want to talk about Quentin Tarantino and Anthony Mackie and Quentin Tarantino. Thank you, D. Steezel. You'll get no argument from me. I agree. Hickman has been putting out some amazing work. Yes, Anthony Lackey. We're going to talk about Anthony Lackey. Recently, a video resurfaced of Anthony Mackie at London Comic-Con back in 2018. And one of the things he said was, actors are not the stars of movies anymore. The characters are. He went on to say, people do not go to the movies to see Anthony Mackie, which is true. They go to see the Falcon. Now, here's what I have to say about that. First of all, Mr. Mackie, you are not that much of a name in Hollywood to where we checking for you. Sorry, not sorry. Then on top of that, the Falcon didn't have enough told about him in the movies. We didn't learn about the Falcon until Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's when you really started talking about him. You moved him from Harlem to Louisiana, which I assume Anthony Mackie has something to do with that because he's from Louisiana. But how can you complain if you're getting work? I guess it's my thought about it. How is he complaining? I can see how Quentin Tarantino would be complaining. Quentin Tarantino ain't making no superhero movies, and superhero movies are all that's popping off right now. So I could see why Quentin Tarantino would be pissed about a superhero movie and be tired of superhero movies. Him and Martin Scorsese got a whole lot to say about superhero movies because they making money and they ain't. Plain and simple. Sipping on the haterade. That's how I feel about that. My thing about that too, and he made a comparison. He said Anthony Mackie said back in the day, people used to go see Schwarzenegger movies. People used to go see Stallone movies. People used to go see Van Damme movies. Now they go see X-Men. That part I got to disagree with. Because I think what creates the desire to see movies like that is sequels. Okay? Hey, Miss Alicia, how you doing? Without Googling, what was the name of the character that Arnold Schwarzenegger played in Commando? And now, if you can answer this, you either a fan or got a photographic memory. And trust me, there's a method to the madness. If you can remember the name of the character that Arnold Schwarzenegger played in Commando, Mr. Ray Smith, you very You very rarely come up with a dud, but Mr. Smith Dutch was the character he played in Predator, not Commando. Oh, Cold Tiger. There was a there was a John Kirby in the movie. Matrix. John Matrix. Okay. My point is this. You like the movie Commando. Not necessarily Arnold Schwarzenegger. You see what I'm saying? Did you? Because what? Commando came out like what, 85? Okay. You come out with a string of movies, then people start wanting to see you. You do enough movies, people want to see what you did. Haven't watched Commando in years. Last action flick from the 80s I watched again recently was Action Jackson. So then, you know, Action Jackson's first name ain't Action, right? I don't think it was so much. I don't agree with what Anthony Mackie and Quentin Tarantino are saying. I don't think it's so much about, oh, these movies got all of these fantastical characters in it and these fantastical storylines, so don't nobody want to pay attention to the story. Not true. Not true. If I asked one of you guys in the chat to run down the 3-story arc of Iron Man, where it began and where it ended up as of the 3rd Iron Man movie, you could probably tell me. Because you're a Iron Man fan, a Robert Downey Jr. fan, or a comic book based movie fan. Okay? Superhero movies are a genre. Just like Westerns, crime dramas, rom-coms, horror movies, mysteries, it's a genre. Okay? And because this genre is ascendant right now, people in Hollywood are peeing in their pants because they think, oh my God, superhero movies are going to be around forever and we're never going to make money again. Not true. It's a trend. Just like martial arts movies were a trend. It ended. Just like blaxploitation movies were a trend. They ended. Movies have trends. When the last time you saw a Western movie? See what I'm saying? My last like Western movie that I watched and was like, oh, that was dope, was Tombstone. And when did that come out? Like 90, in the mid 90s, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and I liked Tombstone because of the performance of Val Kilmer. Not necessarily a Val Kilmer fan per se, because I didn't like him in Batman Forever. Okay? His role as Doc Holliday shines in that movie. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me you watched Tombstone and you didn't go, I liked Doc Holliday, or I liked Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. That's like the biggest part of that movie that anybody talks about. Now, do we do that with superhero movies? Do we say such and such really killed it in Thor: The Dark World? I picked a crap movie on purpose. What do you remember most about Thor: The Dark World? My man who used to be a doctor on Doctor Who playing Malekith, Chris Hemsworth's performance, Tom Hiddleston's performance. What stood out about Thor: The Dark World? Nothing. Okay. Perfect example. All superhero movies aren't instant blockbusters. Where we at? I dislike Sam being from New Orleans like Mackie. He and Sam aren't one and the same. Go figure. No, with John something. How do you like your ribs? See, you're a fan. You're a fan, D. Steezel. 310 to Yuma was the last big Western I remember. See, I remember Russell Crowe, Christian Bale. I remember, but a lot of people, number one, a lot of people don't know 310 to Yuma was a remake. Okay, so because it's a remake, I kind of know what's going to happen. So I'm like, all right, we know what the eventual end of this is going to be like. So why, you know what I mean? What is Russell Crowe or Christian Bale bringing to this that's making me go, yeah, I remember that. So it's not about the genre, is what I'm getting at. It's not about the genre. Anthony Mackie and Quentin Tarantino need to shut the hell up, is what they need to do. Quentin Tarantino needs to stop making movies where everybody drops N-bombs in the shit. That's what he needs to do, and stop calling it art. Okay? Because some people in Hollywood just like, oh, he's got N-words in his movie. Yo, let's make more movies with this guy. I'm telling you, I love Samuel L. Jackson as an actor, but dude, you need to get the hell away from Quentin Tarantino. Because he got you stepping, fetching it like a mug. You know what I'm saying? Don't. You know what I mean? When in Pulp Fiction, and that scene where they go to Quentin Tarantino's house, you think just because you got a black wife, it's okay for you to say some shit like dead nigger storage? I ain't never forgave that man for that. Because he ain't apologized for it. Oh, that's how people talk. But people was like, that ain't no excuse. So he went to making period pieces. I'm going to make period pieces when people used to drop N-bombs, Django Unchained, Hateful Eight. I'm going to start making period pieces so then I can say that stuff. Oh, whatever that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood back in the 60s. Oh, people was dropping N-bombs back then. So I'm going to make movies where it's okay to use the N-word, because one person in that movie always, and it's always somebody who ain't black, ends up using the N-word in one of his movies. But we calling that art. We saying Quentin Tarantino's prolific. Yeah. Posse. I remember Posse. I thought Val and Dennis Quaid played great Doc Hollidays, but Tombstone is the superior film. All day, every day, twice on Sunday, these days. Oh, Loki having his arm cut off and feigning his death. Oh, that's what you remember about Thor: The Dark World. Wow. See what I'm saying? A bad movie is just a bad movie. Yeah, I know the remake. When did Jeff Bridges' True Grit? Jeff Bridges' True Grit, I believe, released in 2010. Again, I knew what was going to happen, because I am embarrassed to say I watched the John Wayne one as a young man, but I mean, we didn't know about John Wayne till we got older. We didn't know about Elvis Presley till we got older. Forgive me. I mean, and he used some of the same lines. And then also, too, we got to remember, True Grit was a book before it had been either one of those movies. So, hate to say it, want to hide something from black people? Put that shit in a book. They'll never find it. Why do you think your grandma hide money in the Bible? She know you ain't trying to look at the word. Theo B in the building. Zotar the Magnificent in the building. All right. Scratch that. How could I forget about Antoine Fuqua's Magnificent Seven? Another remake of a remake. Yeah, because technically, The Magnificent Seven is a remake of Seven Samurai by Kira Kurosawa. You're welcome. You're welcome. Your man's a movie connoisseur. Salute. Samuel L. is the final form of Anthony Mackie. Sellout fusion. Sellout, super sellout instinct. Oh my goodness. Denzel Washington always had beef with Quentin. And that's why you ain't never seen Denzel Washington in none of Quentin Tarantino's movie, because he disrespectful AF. Okay? Black people in Quentin Tarantino's movie just there to get paid. Trust me. They don't care nothing about none of that other stuff. They just there to get paid. And ain't Samuel L. Jackson a Scientologist? Speaks volumes. Man, he got some great premises and some great concepts, but he puts all of that N-word in there, and people just N-word after N-word after N-word after N-word. And I'm just like, bruh, what the fuck makes you think people want to keep seeing and hearing that? Because you put it in every damn movie you make. What is he trying to say by putting the N-word or having white people say the N-word in all of his movies? All of them. It'd be one thing if he missed it in one or two, but every single one of them mugs is somebody dropping an N-bomb. Every single one of them bitches. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, we don't see this? We don't hear this? Why do we keep giving this man money? Seven Samurai was one of George's inspirations for Star Wars. Yep. And for a fistful of dollars from Yojimbo. Yeah, look at Zoltar the Magnificent. He got some smarty smarts too. Seven Samurai is the GOAT along with the Five Deadly Venoms. Oh, come on, you kid. I gotta disagree with you. Those are two entirely different type of movies. Kurosawa is leaps and bounds over the Shaw Brothers. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a good Shaw Brothers flick, but that's apples and oranges. I ain't gonna say one's better or worse than the other, but that's apples and oranges. I don't watch Seven Samurai for the same reason I watch Five Deadly Venoms. That's just me, though. Quentin is mean to his mom. Oh, well, then that tells you everything you need to know about him. Samuel Jackson, yes, along with a couple other people that might shock you too. Quentin was a guest writer on Crimson Tide. That's when Denzel's beef started. See what I'm saying? Which trailer was better, Indy 5 or Guardians Volume 3? First of all, hello, Louis Berry, and that's not what we're talking about. But I am not excited for either. I watched both, and first of all, don't nobody want to see no 80-year-old Indiana Jones. That's first. Second, y'all just did Dave Bautista so wrong that he said, I ain't even gonna get in shape for these movies no more. F y'all. Y'all gonna get a fat Drax. Neither one of the movies ain't nothing. I want to see what they do with Adam Warlock. Other than that, I die. Dang, man. Shogun. Thank you, Kamoyo Kid. Shogun Assassin. Again, yet another different kind of movie. Shogun Assassin is, I don't know. Chinese martial arts films and Japanese martial arts films, they both have a different kind of feel to them. Stuff like The Returner, The Blind Swordsman, Blade of the Immortal, way different from like Shaw Brothers and stuff that Jackie Chan did, stuff that Jet Li did. It's different kind of vibe. The choreography is different. I would even go so far as to say Sonny Chiba in the Street Fighter series. I love those characters in comics, but I dislike what James has done with them. Yeah. It took them 3 movies to get the uniforms right. y'all just now getting the uniforms? Yeah. Thank goodness this is the last Guardians movie, because they just, and the humor thing. You know what I mean? I'm over that. Okay. If you make me a movie again where they tell jokes for 45 minutes and the movie's like 2 hours, I'm not there for that. I am really not. I'm sick of the damn jokes. Cut that shit out. Want to hear no more jokes. Anywho, though, back to this Tarantino and Anthony Mackie thing. It seems like Anthony Mackie just says things so that people will go, look what Anthony Mackie said. You know, oh yeah, nobody's ever going to do it like Chad. You know what I mean? Oh, it's a great movie. I'm not in it, but it's a great movie. You know, you just there bumping your gums, dude. You know what I mean? It's like something about the guy just, yeah. Mackie is clout chasing in a major ass way. And why is he complaining about anything anyway? He was 2018. He made that statement in 2018. In 2018, Anthony Mackie had already been in what? 4 Marvel movies. Captain America and the Winter Soldier came out in 2014. Age of Ultron, he was at then, came out 2015. Ant-Man 2016. Captain America Civil War. That's 4. And then didn't Infinity War come out in 2018? Shut up, Anthony Mackie. You getting work. Why are you bitching even though you getting work? Because I want to be a star. I want to be a superstar. Look at me. I'm the Falcon. Whee! Yeah. Anthony Mackie makes me laugh and cry at the same time. One man saying, training day, smiles and cries. Smiles and cries. Life's about smiles and cries. Mackie thought he was going to be the dude after we lost Chadwick. He in his feelers now, especially since Hawkman exists. Hey, gonna be doing an action figuring on the Aldous Hodge Hawkman. I picked up my Aldous Hodge Hawkman. So we're gonna be talking about that. And we're gonna have a little conversation about who's the cooler winged character of African American descent. Hawkman was very cool, Zoltar. I ain't even gonna lie. I like this whole vibe. I like this whole, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, but they never told us how did Carter Hall get all that money to have that kind of a facility? You know what I mean? Where he had his little Hawk jet in the ground like X-Men and all that. I thought Carter Hall worked at a museum. I don't know no millionaires work at museums. He could have been T'Challa, but he decided to be Hawkman. How come we don't call him Black Hawkman like we call Falcon Black Falcon? I would be inclined to agree with you, Kamoyo Kid, even though in this action figure his wings is on his neck. Yeah, I did a video, an action figuring on Sunman. Y'all should go check it out. Y'all don't be checking out my action figures enough. I'm gonna keep making them until y'all start watching them. I'm playing. He's Egyptian, right? Hawkman? He is a reincarnated Egyptian. Hawkman should have always been black, in my opinion, LOL, with Egyptian origin. But Diabolical Nerd, as you full well know, all denizens of Kemetic origin are not necessarily black skin. Egyptians did a lot of inbreeding. Yes, D. Steezel. He does have one of the most convoluted black backstories in comics. There's the reincarnation thing, and then there's also, oh, hey, wait a minute. There are some hawk people from a planet called Thanagar, and his name's not Carter Hall, it's Katar Hall. So make up your mind. Is he a reincarnated Egyptian or a Birdman from outer space? Yeah, so it's like, yeah, and that's kind. I would have liked to see that version of Hawkman, like with the alien tech and the nth metal and all of that kind of stuff. I would have liked to see them kind of elaborate more on that, but you get what you get from the DCEU. We gotta take what they give us. I prefer the Birdman version. I did too, D. Steezel, because you got more story you can tell about an alien Birdman than you can a reincarnated Egyptian prince. Khufu, I believe, was his name. You know what, Diabolical Nerd? Birdman used to be respectable. You know what I'm saying? Just like Space Ghost. I hate that Adult Swim took Birdman and Space Ghost and made them into comedy. You know what I mean? I just like, because Space Ghost used to be the dude, man. I still want a Space Ghost movie. I think a Space Ghost movie would be dope. And please don't make him black. No, I do not want a black Space Ghost. We're not doing that. Let Thaddeus Bach be Thaddeus Bach. Oh, y'all didn't know I knew Space Ghost's real name. Yeah, Joe Kelly did a miniseries, DC Comics, early 2000s, and Alex Ross did the covers. They were fire. If you have not seen that Space Ghost run in DC Comics with the Alex Ross covers, need to go get that. It's dope. It is dope, dope, dope. And Zorak. You even get to see Zorak. And Zorak is actually badass in that comic book. Let's see what y'all talking about. Where does the wings go since Shira in the comics and cartoons never disappeared? She still looked human. Ashura, those wings go away because of the budget. Those wings go away because of the budget, bro. They ain't got the money to have them wings out 24/7. I dig Egypt, so I like the Pharaoh angle and the tragic love theme. Tad Ghostal. Thaddeus Bach. I don't know. I enjoy Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I actually did a graphic art picture with Zorak. I'll send you. Bet. I like Space Ghost Coast to Coast, but I would have liked them to follow that up by saying we getting back to our series roots. They did that in the comics, but not so much on TV. That Space Ghost comic was fun. It was very, very fun. I like the premise too of how he ends up with Jan and Jace. So, and that's plausible. You know what I'm saying? These two little kids, you know what I'm saying? I lost my family, so I will protect these two little kids like they're my own. Makes sense to me. So Hawkman has a She-Hulk budget. Cool. At least WB stopped hating the fans. Hey, is what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? He could have had his wings out the whole. And I noticed too with X-Men, that last terrible X-Men movie where they crammed every mutant they could in there and had Warren Worthington in it, and he popped his wings out. We didn't see Warren Worthington too much in that movie, did we? I think he popped up like 3-4 times total in the whole movie. What a way to treat one of your founding X-Men. Whoa. The Anchorage International Film Festival is following me. We ain't gonna talk about that right now. But long story short, back to my man Mackie, back to my man Tarantino. Long story short, long story short, long story short. Are people really checking for what Anthony Mackie says? Other than to say, look what that fool said. I know the only time I talk about Anthony Mackie is when he's made some sort of faux pas or open mouth and inserted his foot into it. And speaking of people opening their mouth and inserting feet into them, Nate Moore must have an entire shoe store in his mouth. Because my man can't stop saying dumb shit. Okay. And this is what I was on with him. Traditionally, they prefer not to hire people in the comic book industry. I'm gonna say that again. Disney and Marvel a comic book company originally prefers not to hire people in the comic book industry. I am a doctor. I only prefer to hire nurses who have went to Ivy League schools. So there ain't no other nurses nowhere else from no other school. HCBUs ain't no other nurses that could work for me as a doctor. That's literally the thought process. I'm making comic book based movies, but I don't want to consult people in the comic book industry about them. That speaks volumes. No wonder 4 was poor. That's why phase 4 sucked so bad. Okay, y'all didn't hire nobody who had anything to do with comic books. Kevin Smith wasn't doing nothing, was he? Not to say Kevin Smith is the best choice, but Kevin Smith is somebody who has experience in both the movie and comic book industry. Wouldn't Kevin Smith have been a great choice if for nothing else as a consultant on Daredevil? The man has wrote a Daredevil comic book. I ain't saying how good or bad it is, but he has the experience. That explains so much. It really, really does. And now you guys who I know out here are comic book fans. What that mean to y'all? This man who is what? Executive VP has told you, I ain't looking at nobody in the comic book industry as a consultant, as a writer, as a director, none of that. Are these movies you really want to see? I mean, seriously. If your favorite football team, diabolical nerd, Pittsburgh Steelers, if the Pittsburgh Steelers said, we are only drafting players from Canada, we don't want no players from no HBCUs. We don't want no players from no SEC. We don't want no players from no SWAC. We don't want none of that. We want Canadian players. Not to say Canadian players are terrible, but you got a plethora of people to choose from as far as prospects in the United States go. Why would you not go for them? That's what they're doing. They are literally handicapping themselves. They are literally curtailing their ability to make potentially better films. So that's cool. I thank you, Ashura. But the point remains. He has experience. I'm using him as an example. I'm not saying go get Kevin Smith. I'm saying, for example, Kevin Smith is in the comic book industry and has made comic book movies. That's it. I don't care who like or hate him. You know what I'm saying? I'm just stating the fact. That's a fact. Kevin Smith has made comic book movies. They wasn't the greatest, but but he has the experience. That's the only point I'm making. And to say, nope, we won't consider him. And I guarantee you, if Marvel woke up tomorrow and said, we want Kevin Smith for a Daredevil movie, all these people is talking this shit about him still going to go see that Daredevil movie. I knew something was up during phase 2. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Nate is whack. Yeah. Self-control, young grasshopper, at Kamoyo Kid. There are better methods. I couldn't have sat with Nate in an interview. I would have been across the table as soon as that. I could be in a room with Nate, but you know what? You know how I'd handle Nate? From what I've seen of Nate Moore in interviews, he is very, 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 very easily led. And if you get him talking on a tangent, why y'all slip up on that T'Challa recast, bro? Oh, well, gosh, it's a mantle. Mantle. Anyway, as a Steelers man, I would be furious. I bet you would. B. Sanger X-Men. Jugs chased Kitty Pryde to mutant leech whose power is to nullify mutant power. Why did Jugs lose his powers? Because they wasn't familiar with comics to know he's not a mutant. Cherry picking. There's this guy who's really, really strong, and once he starts walking in a direction, nothing can stop him. Yeah, put that dude in the movie. Yeah, that literally seems like all the thought that was put into Kane Marco. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he's a big dude. Yeah, check. Oh, he's wearing brown. Yeah, check. Oh, once he starts walking in a direction, can't stop. Check. No Sitarak origin. Yeah. And that way. Why do we want to put anything other than a mutant in here? Probably because at the time Fox didn't have the rights to any of that other stuff. Not that I'm caping for them, not that I'm taking up for them. They just didn't have the rights to those characters. But I agree. That's still no excuse to mess that man's story up to high heaven. Comic creators live for this and have so much background knowledge. Hell, they're literally writing the source material. Why would you not go to the person who wrote the material and say, can you give me a little bit of clarity on this? Can you tell me what you think might be the best direction to go with this character and or storyline? You know what I'm saying? You don't have to put Chris Claremont into your writing pool. You don't have to put John Byrne into your writing pool. You don't have to put Al Ewing into your writing pool. You can talk, you can sit down and have some tea with Al Ewing. And, hey, what do you think about the Avengers, Al? Tell me what your plans are and what your thought process is, and bring me up to speed on some of these stories. And if y'all taking minutes to decide how you doing a whole movie, surely you can sit down to coffee with Al Ewing. Just a thought. This only happens in Hollywood. Video game develops follow that source material. Yeah, way better than movies do anyway. Didn't like his He-Man Part 1, but I liked Part 2. Did you like the color swapped Gray Skull? I didn't like it, but I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care for it, but I'm like, all right. Okay. All right. But then when they started just saturating us with it, just kept bombing us with it and bombing it with it, I'm like, wait one damn minute. Slow down. You know? I'm the juggernaut, bitch. I remember that. I remember. That's what I think that's on the strength of them videos is why they put the juggernaut in the movie and had him say that line in the movie. We can still influence them on recast, but good to not put all the eggs in the Marvel basket. Gotta be getting to that, Zoltar. I got my Jamaican colors on. Is that right? Okay. Okay. I wore my red, black, and green scarf today. That my mama knitted for me way back in 1987. I still have it. Sam Raimi respected that source material for the most part. Bryan Singer took a different approach. How can you screw up a Spider-Man origin story? You know what I mean? Spider-Man's origin is kind of like cemented. If you're gonna do an origin story, you got to do that one. Telling it from a different perspective also works. Telling it from like in improv, there's a game called Rashomon, and it's based on a movie by Akira Kurosawa. And in this movie, there is an incident that has taken place. And every time you ask a different person, a scene is reenacted from their perspective. I think there was a movie that like that with Matthew Fox, I think in Forrest Whitaker, that was called Vantage Point. That's kind of a similar kind of story. But anyway, the story, every time you talk to a different person or every time the camera moves in on another person, you get a different telling of that story from that person's perspective. And I think that's what like a lot of different directors did. Well, the couple, I don't say a couple of different directors did with the Spider-Man origin story. Whereas Sam Raimi just went, okay, I'm going full out. I'm gonna tell that whole story and we're gonna get that. Amazing Spider-Man, you added the component of, oh, Peter Parker's got parents and they're involved indirectly with this situation. And that's the angle you got from, I think, Mark Webb. Was it Mark Webb that directed the Amazing Spider-Man series? And then, of course, you got the MCU version where it's like, y'all already know this story. Let's get to the Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? So, Rashomon. You know what I'm saying? You're getting the same story, but you're getting it from different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? You could get that story from the past. You get that story from the present. You can get that story from the future. That's how the Spider-Man story was being told by different perspectives. So, bearing that in mind, you don't always have to start Captain America's story from Project Rebirth. Matter of fact, the 1990 Captain America movie with the plastic ears did just that. You know what I'm saying? We got it from different angles. He was already Captain America. You know what I'm saying? We already knew who he was and what he was doing, and you know what I'm saying? So there's different ways to tell a story. You don't necessarily have to tell, Krypton, baby in a rocket, baby in Kansas, kid in Kansas, adult in Kansas. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do it like that necessarily. What y'all talking about, isn't it? They are seeking the fickle fan base of the casuals who aren't fans. That was almost poetic, Kamoyo Kid. The previous He-Man show was superior, and I'm still salty about their canceled Thundercats after one season. D. Steezel, I did not like that Thundercats. That Thundercat sucked ass. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. The one where Lionel kept saying whiskers. Yeah, how Shannon Sharp get it? Didn't like it. Didn't like it. The Ultimate Spider-Man was released because of that first film. Makes sense. Recast T'Challa. I want the real T'Challa. They never nerfed Tony, Reed, or Peter's intelligence. I want genius, richest, top fighter of Marvel, T'Challa. They need to put some respect on his name. Facts. Facts. Zoltar agrees. These Steezel said they tied MCU Peter's story to Tony Stark, which I don't like. See? But this is what I keep trying to tell people. And we forget, I even forget, and I lose my shit and go off and all of that. The MCU, not the prime Marvel Universe, to snatch a DC phrase. They are not the primary universe. And everybody in this chat knows that Earth 1-9, Quad 9, that is not the primary. Okay? And that's what we have to keep telling ourselves. We have to keep telling ourselves. This crap they're putting out here is not the 616 universe. It isn't. I don't care what Kevin Feige tries to brainwash people into believing. If the little gal who played Miss Marvel ain't buying that shit, I damn sure ain't buying it. You know what I mean? And she's on the show. You know what I'm saying? So, come on, y'all. You know what I mean? Help me, help us, help them, help themselves. Oh, you're not talking about Thundercats. I'm not talking about Thundercats Ho either. Thundercats Ho was the Teen Titans Go version. I'm talking about the one you're talking about with Will Friedle doing the voice of Lion-O. Yeah, I'm talking about that one too. It just, something about it didn't vibe. Wasn't feeling it. Wasn't doing it. Wasn't making me think 85 vibes. You know what I mean? I wasn't getting them 85 vibes, you know? Like with the He-Man that they came out with in 2000, like 2000, 2002, that He-Man, I like that one. The one with Cobra Khan and you know, and Prince Adam actually looks different from He-Man. That one I was feeling. I liked that one. That came on Cartoon Network for a while, and they had the Korean kind of anime kind of feel to it. So yeah, I was feeling that one. I would say even more so than this one on Netflix. They didn't need RDJ anywhere near that film. This is Spider-Man we're talking about. He's still the most popular superhero at Marvel. Flagship character, can I say? Technically, the Marvel Universe was built around Spider-Man, not the other way around. So there were people who were populating the universe, and Spider-Man was rubbing noses with everybody back in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was in his comic book or whether he was in somebody else's comic book, I think Stan Lee's whole idea was like, this is how we make Spider-Man our flagship character. He's going to pop up every damn where. Oh, look, Spider-Man's in the Fantastic Four comic book. Oh, look, Spider-Man's in his own comic book. Oh, look, Spider-Man's in an Avengers comic book. Oh, look, Spider-Man's in an X-Men comic book. Oh, look, Spider-Man's in a Hulk comic book. How he ain't gonna be your flagship character? He keeps popping up in everybody's damn comic book. So, I mean, between like 61 and 63, he was in every comic book that came out between 61 and 63. Go check. I mean, not in every consecutive comic book, but he made an appearance or a cameo. So you can check that if you want to. Marvel will never willingly give you a superior black man on screen like that. It's starting to look that way, kid. That's kind of what it's looking like. If we can't control that black man, or we can't have that black man on his knees, we don't want that black man. We're going to kill him. If he's anything other than that, we're going to kill him. You know what I'm saying? So, and then, all you got to do is, hire your executioner, aka director Ryan Coogler, because he's good at murdering black people. Yeah, the art style was dope. Talking about He-Man, yeah. I'm going to assume you mean planning on getting Beast Wars action figures after I'm done collecting all of my gargoyle figures. I'm still looking for the for Bronx so that I can get the Goliath fold over wings for my Goliath figure, and then I want to do an action figure on that, because that to me, that was the coolest thing about gargoyle wings on gargoyles, because when they wasn't using them, they flip them down and flip and they prop over and they rock it like a cape. I'm like, oh, that's gonna fly, oh, like a Goliath, So yeah, I was feeling that. Ain't no sense in me saying I wasn't. But yeah, as soon as I can find me a Bronx, I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. He was asked to join the Avengers several times and declined, always chilling with the FF. Oh, he asked to join the Fantastic Four and was like, how much y'all paying? And Reed Richards told him, we don't pay, and Spider-Man was like, deuces. But he finally ended up joining like decades later. So guess money ain't everything. Or the Future Foundation. Jonathan Hickman again. Every other first issue or miniseries would say, yeah, facts. Guess not Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man was in everybody's stuff. You couldn't hide from Spider-Man. Spider-Man was everywhere with them little web wings under his armpits. Stan. Oh, was it Steve Ditko? Steve Ditko is the one who came up with that idea. Do we have a Spider-Man action figure with the web armpits? If not, we need to get one. Hasbro, do you have a Spider-Man with the armpits, with the web armpits? If not, you need to get that. And I know at what point, Mr. Ray Smith, if you still in here, at what point did Spider-Man get rid of the armpit webs? Because I know I can think as far back as Spider-Man number 50, which is the first appearance of the Kingpin. He had them. So maybe at some point, maybe like when he hit like issue 100, 100, even then I think he did. During the Ross Andrew years, I think he even had it then. So yeah, y'all get at me. When did Peter Parker ditch the underarm webs? Thug Tyler Perry. I'm going to send you the video how they're molding the wings to fold down. Oh, you mean the wings that come with Goliath? That might be another action figure for another day. LOL. Yep, Peter could never make money off his own merchandise either. You need to reveal your identity to get paid. Yep. Because he had a Doom buggy back in the day. He called the Spider-Mobile. Matter of fact, he didn't make that. Somebody else made that for him. And then it went all Spider Slayer on him. That again, that was the Ross Andrew run. I liked the Ross Andrew run on Spider-Man because when Ross Andrew was doing the art, that was during the time of the first Superman Spider-Man team up, and he did that too. So if y'all want to see some of his art, and you can afford it, go back and get that. It was like a double. I got it over here somewhere. I'll dig it out one day. Matter of fact, I have a video of those big giant size comics, and I pulled them out. And if y'all been rocking with me since day one, then you've seen it. Cornelius, you said, I used to have pajama set with those spider pits. They are not armpits, but web gliders that happen to be under his armpits. Whenever you get finished. The web armpits were rad. See, they armpits, Assured. Just give up. I used to have a pajama set with those spider pits. There, you prefer spider pits? Gliders. Glide. Okay. I dug the spider buggy. I had the toy as a kid. Lucky. Master Gundam has fold-over wings. Master Gundam. See, you got me getting ready to do some slick stuff. You got me getting ready to do some slick stuff. Hey, look here, y'all. I want to segue into my next and final topic, which of course is Afrofuturism. Now, if y'all been, checking out my recent videos, I've been pushing Afrofuturism and the importance of it, because a lot of people don't understand that Afrofuturism isn't just a thing that should occur in comics or in science fiction. If you watch the video I did last night, Afrofuturism was all over Black album covers throughout the 70s. Earth, Wind and Fire, Herbie Hancock, Parliament Funkadelic, all of them, they had it on their album covers in some way, shape, or form. I would even go so far as to say people like Ramsey Lewis. I could go on for days, man, because my mom had a huge album collection, and it was some albums that had like some wild, crazy, far out ass designs. So we need to and it's a whole thought process too. And I don't know if anybody out there has heard of a lady by the name of Octavia Butler. But I will probably be doing another video about Afrofuturism where I mention her, because she's kind of a pioneer in it. And she, kind of, a lot of her stories combine those spiritual themes, existential themes with things like slavery. You know what I mean? And so it's like you don't just get the one part. What is Afrofuturism? Clamp Champ is Afrofuturism. Mech Strike, Black Panther, Funko version, is Afrofuturism. Malika, Warrior Queen, that's by Dark Horse, by the way, is Afrofuturism. And I could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about different things, different themes, different characters, different stories that capture that vibe, that feel, that energy. Let me ask you a question. People who draw, my man Diabolical Nerd, folks that draw, that illustrate things, what style would you say you draw in? And I'll give you a choice. Would you say that you draw in a European style? Would you say that you draw in an Asian style? Or do you have a style that you call all your own that you developed? And if you do have a style that you call all your own, how did you develop it? Because largely, people tend to draw things as far as fantasy in a European style. Okay, characters who wear praetor helmets or hoplite helmets, characters who have armor that looks like Roman armor, characters that have tunics, characters that wear greaves and sandals and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's not Roman or Greek per se, it draws a lot of what it is from that. Robots that have that kind of look, monsters that are dragon-like or European dragon-like. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I could sit here actually and talk for hours about this, but the importance of it is we need to. We don't need to. Don't feel pushed. We should try to develop us more. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying there aren't people out there that do it, but we need to do it more. That's a thought. That's an idea. You know what I'm saying? How do we develop that and make that grow? You know what I'm saying? We got to start. And y'all know this is how I was going to end it. We got to start doing our own. We got to start the disappointment with Black Panther Wakanda Forever should be more than enough motivation if you got the gifts, the skill, the gumption, or something that you could contribute to creating or developing or doing something that makes Afrofuturism grow, that develops Afrofuturism into something. Okay. And that's where I'm getting ready to start pouring a lot of my energy into, is developing projects and things like this that showcase and highlight us. You know what I mean? So I mean, if you're down, you're down. If you're not, you can watch. You know, I ain't faulting nobody that doesn't have no gift or talent that contributes to something like this. You know what I mean? But at the same time, your patronage will be greatly appreciated. Where we at? Afrofuturism often also encompasses fantasy and alternate history. You are 100% correct, Mr. Magnificent. Oh, excuse me, Mr. The Magnificent. I'm the Magnificent. Special ed. I'm the Magnificent with a magnificent style. And I could go on and on for like a mile a minute because I get in it like a car and drive. If the record was a smash, I would still survive. I'm the man on the steel wheels of steel that you're spinning. In other words, on the record that you're hearing. You might not understand what I'm saying at first, so action love. Put it in reverse. I'm sorry. I had an 80s hip hop moment. Forgive me. The Patternist series by Octavia Butler. Zoltar knows. I am into American style comics. Gotcha. My mother was an artist. I used to draw back in the day, so I dig several different art styles. From my uncle's funk albums as a kid, plus the heavy metal film, I draw sporadically. I like hearing all of this. You're exciting me. I'm more of a realist style, says Diabolical Nerd. Did a lot of charcoal sketch, basically sketch artist. Haven't done it in a while. Mainly doing photography and editing, some graphic art. But I'm with you on Afrofuture. All right, let's build some stuff. I'm a super art critic. He said bars. Well, back in the day, if I can remember, I actually have a demo album that I did back in the 80s. It was an album that I was actually shopping. We got it pressed at Macola Records. A lot of people who have that have heard of that record company. It was Macola Records, and it had 2 songs on it. They was called Deaf to the Deaf and the PD is a Crew. If I can remember one day, I will play them joints for y'all. Your man used to be a whole rapper. But that was many moons ago. Where is Theo tonight? Theo was in here for a second. He made an appearance. I saw him. And Mrs. I ain't saying, I'm just saying. There's both in here. So I mean, I don't expect nobody to be in here all night chilling with me, but if you are, thank you. Thank you, Sir D Real. Salute. Sir D Real. Like a knife. Okay. Grio D Real. Moluini. And Inkosi. I mostly like realistic, but there are manga styles I dig. Walter Wilder, also Sun Ra. And Walter Wilder, stay tuned, man. I'm gonna be doing some videos in the next couple of days to come, and I'm gonna touch on Sun Ra. So stay tuned. Stay tuned, bro. Good eye, good ear. I like seeing that. Let's get creative and more interested in our imaginations. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm with it. I put my money where my hands are. So I was gonna say mouth, didn't you? Nah, I put my money where my hands are. I put my hands to the plow. So yeah, we gonna get that work in. Trust. Does rock and roll have black origins? Assura. All music has black origins. Chuck Berry and Little Richard, yeah, and even before Chuck Berry and Little Richard, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Cab Calloway, yeah, we've been making music long before people decided to, and I ain't just talking about them. You know what I mean? Music go way back. So yeah. Yeah, see, there's Theo right there, y'all. Just because he ain't talking and making comments don't mean he ain't here. Let the man sit back. He do like 4-5 videos a day talking. Let that man relax. Glad that you're still here, brother. And Miss I Ain't Saying. They both still here. Breathe, y'all. Relax. People are so used to coming up and hearing they need to be realistic instead of exploring their creative talents. I wholeheartedly agree, because some people have amazingly beautiful imaginations that they are allowing to stagnate in that. If nothing else, if they could just sit down with somebody who draws or somebody who writes and dictate to them, tell them what it is they're thinking, tell them what it is they're feeling. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a great artist, you know, but I'm saying I can draw decent enough to give you a rudimentary idea of what I would like to be beefed up and made nice into, you know, a presentable art form. Everybody can do that. Everybody has something they can do or say or contribute in some way, shape, or form, man. Ain't no reason for us to be out here getting done dirty. I talk to people who say they don't fool with independence, like as far as comics go, and just the big two, you're missing out. If you only PHUQ with Marvel and DC, you are missing out. Image got some amazing titles. IDW got some amazing titles. Dark Horse got some amazing titles. And that's just a couple. You know what I'm saying? Don't miss the forest for the trees. All I'm saying. Theo, you reading Black Panther, the most dangerous man alive. That's a good read. Yep, rock and rock, I assume. Walter, you mean rock and roll, was a term used by Black people in the South to describe sex in the 1950s. It was picked up by a DJ. See, Ashura, all this knowledge and wisdom that is in this chat, man. I'm telling you, man, we are an amazing, creative, original, wonderful people who have done fantastic things that are going to fall to the wayside because we are allowing our history to be siphoned away from us by politics and red tape and bullshit like that. We got to keep creating it. We got to keep making it move. We got to keep making it move. I don't know who it was that said it. Hey, I said it. Well, I said it too, but the best way to get rid of a legend is to stop talking about it. Stop telling their stories. Stop writing their stories. Stop portraying their stories. We got stories to tell. We as a people got stories to tell. And we can tell those same stories from a fantasy standpoint. We can tell those same stories from a science fiction base, a science fiction base. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, y'all. Let me see here. Props, go see. D-Real rock and roll is fast tempo blues, basically. Facts. Cab Calloway was one of Michael Jackson's influences. James Brown was his number one. Yep. Even the banjo is African in origin. Even the banjo. That's African. Remember the band Slave from Ohio had a black man holding the planet Earth over his head like Superman? Yeah, that was the album that had my name is Drag. I ain't gonna bite you. I just want you to hang out. Slide, boom, boom. That bass line is thick in that song. Slide, boom, 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 boom. Steve Arrington. Was that Steve Arrington? Yeah, that was Steve Arrington. Yeah, Steve Arrington was enslaved, right? Yeah. I mean, Chuck Berry and Little Richard brought it to the mainstream. Yeah. I knew what you meant, D. Steezel. Then why has the community dropped the ball on that? They let white people take that for themselves and dictates what the origins are and who owns the genre. Ooh, sure. I am already an hour and 37 minutes into my live. The time it would take for me to explain that to you, I'll just say it like this. For the better half of the 20th century, and even now, white people have been in power. White people have had systematic control of this country in every way, shape, and form, from politics to entertainment. If a white person sees a black artist and says, I like that, I'm going to put you on the album. And then when they put you on the album, they go and get some white artists to do the exact same shit that these black people just did for you on an album. And then you screw them out of their legacy, out of their heritage. Okay? You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog by Elvis Presley. That ain't Elvis Presley originally. And I can name you like 10 to 15 artists right now that people call legendary or who are sitting in the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right now off of some shit they stole from black people. So, see, don't get me started on that end. Let's get back to this Afrofuturism, man, because you're gonna make me put on a different hat asking questions like that. Let's see. That's storytelling and storyboarding for movies. Yes, it is. Mavel, I'm assuming that's Marvel, styled a lot of the black heroes' outfits based on the funk bands of the 70s, V-necks. It's definitely Luke Cage's yellow shirt and the tiara. Luke Cage's outfit, Walter, Luke Cage's outfit reminds me of some cats. They had a group that was called Brass Construction. Tell me you remember Brass Construction, Mr. Wilder, or you've heard of them. They still make great comics outside of the big two. They still make magnificent comics outside of the big two. I just know people that's like, I only mess with Marvel and DC. Why? You missing out, cuz. Did you enjoy the cartoon series on Amazon, Invincible? That ain't Marvel. That ain't DC. Did you enjoy The Boys on Amazon? That ain't Marvel. That ain't DC. There's tons of excellent projects, superhero based, that ain't Marvel or DC. Need to give them a shot. Griots converse with the spirits of the ancestors so that they may give us knowledge. When a griot is away, they are coming back with a revelation. We must let them do things at their own pace. Jewels dropped, Kamoyo Kid. Indy has the most interesting storyline sometimes. Agree, 100. The 70s do have the ugliest superhero outfits. Yeah. Look up a character in the 70s. I believe it's 1976. Black character, Legion of Superheroes, by the name of Tyroc. Tyroc. Look at that Negro's outfit. I know, sure, it's sad. That's why hip hop in general was so heavily guarded for so long. Black creatives didn't want to have what happened to jazz and rock legends to happen to hip hop. That part, you know what I'm saying? But if you, and I tell people all the time, racism is systematic. You have to have control of something in order to be racist over it. You know what I'm saying? Anything else, that's discrimination and prejudice. Don't you have to control it? I can't tell black people what to do if I don't control where they go, where they eat, what they listen to. I can't control them. I can't control what they do and say if they have the control over their own destiny. Why do you think you can get a loan for a house? You can get a loan for a car, but you can't get a loan for a business. They're not going to pay you to give you power. There, that's my jewel of the day. Oh my God, y'all went ham. Let me catch up with these cow guys. Assure it is a whole it is a whole lie by itself, man. You ain't bullshit. Beach Boys, Elvis, yeah. Pat Boone singing Tutti Frutti, yep. Tom Jones, all right. Falcon's original green outfit. Yeah, Falcons aren't green. Shades and Comanche's costumes from Power Man. Shit. Everybody who popped up in a Power Man comic book in the 70s. Cockroach, Steeplejack, Piranha, bruh, Cottonmouth. Every freaking character in Luke Cage's Rose Gallery was corny and crazy as hell. Still waiting on Invincible season 2. Me too, brother. Me too. Right. Even though some Beach Boys is good, check out Pet Sounds. It's cool if you like that trippy poppy vibe. No, I do not, Mr. Magnificent. At Zoltar the Magnificent, because of the music today, hip hop, R&B, reggae, blues, soul, and rock and roll are being imitated by Asian cultures, but the shout outs go to white cultures, but not blacks. They love our culture, but they do not love us. When you realize that, you start to move different. That's all I can say about that on the live. You know what I'm saying? When you realize that they love our culture and not us, you move different. Just about to mention my video. Salute, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. The fuss tone sounds from the Truner, Jimmy Himmer, Jin Jab. Yeah. Then schedule a history lesson of Black American folklore music, Daryl, next week. Dude, yeah. How many people gonna watch it besides you, Ashura? Lord, what was they thinking? Sweet Christmas. Yep. and there was an Icon comic book where they had this character called Buckwild who was a straight rip of Luke Cage. And I am going to leave it right there. Let us do more for us. Let us do more with us. We need to commensurate, collaborate, and create. Okay? I'm here. Matter of fact, I am putting in the chat is my email. Y'all want to contact me because I am going to be getting together with a couple of other people and we're going to be universe planning. If you want to be down for it, sure, yeah, that it's depressing. That's why ownership and collective networking and economics can help defend creations and creators and help them prosper. Yes, Ashura, Cockroach was a whole character. That was a whole character. Hey, how's about this for a history lesson? Why? Because see, and here's why, sure. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna bounce. Luke Cage was created in 1972. That was the heyday of blaxploitation, and blaxploitation was going on in comics, just like it was going on in movies. Black Lightning, like the Tyrock character that I mentioned previously. Okay, black characters were an afterthought. Okay. And when they weren't an afterthought, when they were featured in their own comics, you got these joke ass parodies and stuff like what, Luke Cage comic books were full of. Because if you go back and look at Luke Cage comic books now, you're like, the fuck? You know what I'm saying? He had a comic book where he got a jet from the Fantastic Four and went all the way to Latveria and was beating up Dr. Doom over $20. $20. And Dr. Doom actually had $20 in his costume to pay him after all the fighting. Buckwild, yep. Yep. Y'all remember Buckwild. Look here, y'all. Let me get y'all are in here, man. Y'all got me reminiscing and on putting on my conspiracy theorist hat, all that stuff. Okay. I'm gonna run it down. I'm gonna give shouts out. I'm gonna give a shout out to Ray Smith, Grand Madam Tarot, Diabolical Nerd, the Kamoyo Kid, Diesel, Cold Tiger, of course, my man Theo B, and Mrs. I ain't saying, I'm just saying, Miss Alicia, Louis Berry, Zoltar the Magnificent. I love that name. And if you're wondering, I'm saving you for last. Cornelius, he was in here for a second. Walter Wilder. And of course, last but not least, Ashura. Thank y'all all for joining me tonight on this live. Isn't Zoltar from the early pilot of Power Rangers? Ain't that Zordon? You know what? Not getting into this. Peace, Zoltar. I will be getting at y'all next week. And like I said, check out some of the videos I'm gonna be dropping later on this week and for the weekend. I'm definitely doing one on Afrofuturism. Y'all got me thinking that I might need to do some stuff on Luke Cage and reference some other things. But yeah, if you're digging what a brother's shoveling, hit that like button. Hit that like button. And when you're done hitting that like button, hit that like button. Wait, don't hit it twice, because if you hit it again, then you'll take the like away. So hit that like button once. I'm going to be getting at y'all later on this week. I'll be getting at y'all next week with another live. Coming at you with another one of them other ones. Till I do, y'all be good. Be good to each other. Peace, y'all.